Hey, yo, what up? Welcome back. This is not a podcast. It's just my thoughts with Rob Markman. Cardi B's Am I the Drama is here. The long awaited sophomore album is here. The Wall is also here. I told you I was going to get The Wall right. If you looked at the last video, all the records came down because I was using command strips. Now I got some screws, some anchors, got, the power drill, and we hung these up the right way. Also put a new piece of vinyl up, Rhapsody and Madlib. Got a new single that they did. I had picked that up. I had just that sitting in my stack of mail that I had unopened, but I had bought that. I said, man, let's put that on the wall, man. Shout out to Rhapsody. Shout out to Madlib. But Cardi B, today we're going to talk about Cardi B, Am I the Drama? Long way the second album. I'm not gonna lie, I was skeptical because the album it took so many years. This is Cardi's second album. Invasion of Privacy was her first one, came out in 2018, so it was a long time. But the album's solid. It's definitely joints that I fuck with on here. Bodega Baddie is fun. I think that's gonna go off, especially in New York City. I like Pleasure Principle with the Janet Jackson sample. Safe with Kehlani. Better Than You. I really like that beat. And then there's the disses that everybody's talking about. Magnet, where she's going against JT and she throws shots at Ice Spice and Lil Uzi. And then Pretty and Petty is a whole track aimed at Bia. And real quick, just before we go on, I was wrong. I changed my mind about the Tea Party line. Tea Party line is good. I didn't like it at first. I didn't love it. I was just like, that's kind of simple. But the way she spills tea after she does the Tea Party line, I get it. I give it to her. She got it. We talked about that in the last video. A lot of y'all hit me in the comments about that one. So I give her credit for the Tea Party line. Or whoever came up with it, but that's the topic of the video today. We're gonna go into that. So I'm trying to choose my words carefully because I'm trying to straight down the middle with it. But when it comes to Magnet, Joe Budden podcast praised the song, right? We all praise the song. Everybody's praising the song. But in response to that line where she goes, "You a shady ass bitch, you've been trashed since birth. Mama didn't want you, Brenda's baby ass bitch." I thought that was a clever line play on Pox. Brenda's got a baby. So if you know that song, that line hits. So Joe Budden said, whoever is writing these lines, he is smoking this shit. You know what I'm saying? So Cardi responded with a tweet and defended her pen. And this is going to get us into what we're talking about today. She said, whoever wrote it, 2 question marks, question mark, question mark. Whoever wrote it, nah, that's Cardi. This is my process. I'm a natural roaster. And you already know I'm quick with the mouth. So I'll be coming up with lines and I'll record myself, then lay it later. Don't give me backhanded tens because I'll always be able to prove my shit. And then she dropped a video of her, of her phone, of audio of her phone, going over the lines that ended up in the song. So the assumption is, and I don't know the order of events, but the assumption is that before she got to the studio, as she's saying in this tweet, that she was kind of repeating those lines to herself or laying those lines or making a voice memo of those lines so that when she gets into the studio, she can kind of work it out and record it later. But I can't find the video anymore. I think she erased the tweet and I couldn't find the video, but the video is out there somewhere. But so I have questions here. Questions to y'all. This is the first question. Do you as a fan care if Cardi wrote it or not? Especially the diss records. Do you care if Cardi wrote it or not? All records, but especially the diss records. Do you care if she wrote it or not? And then a question that's much harder to answer, because how are we supposed to know which bars you wrote and which ones you did it? And that's what we're going to tackle today because Cardi has been open about using writers before, but she's also vehemently defended her pen before too, and that she writes. So how are we supposed to know? And how do we judge it? So do you care, right? That's how do you judge it? And then how are we supposed to know what's what? Before we get started, like, subscribe, comment, share, do all of that. Subscribe, like, comment. I need all of that, all right? So first question, do you care if Cardi wrote it or not? My short answer, right? And I want to hear from y'all in the comments. My short answer is yes. I do care. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. I enjoy it more when I know that a rapper wrote those bars. It's different for me with singers and pop stars because their talent is the voice, is the singing and rapping. Delivery is a talent for sure. But the talent, the impressive part about rapping for me, my best rappers, my favorite rappers, my GOAT rappers, is that pen work, is the connectivity, is the way the rhymes connect, the metaphors, the similes, the poetry in it. And it just impresses me more, feels better to me more knowing that, oh, that was you. You sat in a room and you came up with that. That's crazy. And then you spit it. That's crazy. it matters to me. I enjoy it more when I know that a rapper wrote those bars. It just hits harder. That's just me being honest. Now, I absolutely enjoy and I am a fan of rappers who have writers. There are well-known songs. I'm not naming them because then this gets into a who's who. This turns into something else. Y'all could talk in the comments, but I'm trying to keep this thing straight down the middle and stay focused on this conversation and the task at hand. And of course, this affects hip hop large at wide. So y'all can go at it in the comments. Me, I'm staying really focused here because if I name one artist and not another, then it just detracts from the whole point. People take that and run with it. It detracts from the whole point. I'm staying very focused here, but I absolutely enjoy it. And I'm a fan of rappers who have writers, of MCs who have writers. There are well-known songs that are written by others that I enjoy, that I fuck with. That if you have a writer and you're a rapper and you have a writer, that I will still buy your album. That I will still go to your show. You know what I'm saying? That I will still enjoy your music. It doesn't allow me to not enjoy the music, but it does matter to me to know that, oh shit, you wrote that. That was your pen. It's just more impressive to me. But that's me. Now, when it comes to Cardi B, pretty early in her career, she had been open about using writers, right? Particularly Partisan Fontaine. Pardi is how we call him. Birth name Jordan Thorpe. And the reason why I use his birth name, his government name, is because when you look in the credits, writers are often listed by their government name. And just FYI too, for those who may be confused about it, because I know a lot of people get this messed up. If you have writing credits on the song that the public can see, if I can go into Spotify or Discogs or wherever you kind of look for credits, right? The label copy, if you get access to label copy, if I can go into the credits and I can see your name, you're a writer, you're not a ghostwriter. Ghostwriters are the ones that go uncredited, unnamed, that stay a secret. So Pardi is a writer, he is not a ghostwriter. Pardi had credits on Bodak Yellow, which was Cardi B's breakout hit. She had mixtape before that too, but that first breakout joint, that first joint that told us, oh, Cardi B is here. She is not to be fucked with. This is going to be a legit and legendary career. Bodak Yellow was the song. So from the gate, knowing that Pardi wrote on that, it set the expectations from the beginning. Like our expectation was like, oh, okay, Cardi collaborates, her right, and somehow, and we don't know the division of labor, but Cardi has other writers in the room with her. And she was open about that. Pardi was open about that. So that set the expectation from what we expect from her. I think the issue is, and what we don't know as fans and media, and ultimately, yes, I'm media, but ultimately I'm a fan, is who's doing what? What's the process? And I assume it's different for every artist. Is the writer just writing the hook? And then the rapper is penning their own verses. That happens a ton. I get that. I'm not mad at that. Pharrell, when the Neptunes give you a beat back in the day, or even Pharrell today, Pharrell writes a lot of hooks. So sometimes you get the beat and from the producer, and then the hook comes with it. And then the artist respits that hook and then writes their own verses and puts their just writes their shit, puts their shit in. You know what I'm saying? Is the writer writing the whole record? We've heard reference tracks in the past where the writer lays down the whole record and then the rapper just comes in and redoes it. That's a little disappointing to me when you kind of find that out, when like maybe you didn't know, the expectation was like, oh, I thought this artist was writing their stuff, and then you hear reference. That's the disappointment part that comes with it. Again, so when we speak about Cardi, the expectation was set pretty much from the beginning that she collaborates with writers. So then when you look at the credits or you hear about other writers, it's not surprising. But I can still enjoy the finished product. I just might look at it a little differently if it was a collaboration, if it was a group project. I think the part that the public doesn't get is how it all works, right? I think the assumption was that Cardi has people who deliver the whole song to her, writes it for her, and she spits it. But she's gotten defensive about this before. This Joe Budden tweet, this response to Joe Budden, wasn't the first time she's defended herself to this. In 2023, when Fendi the Rapper dropped Point Me to the with Cardi B as a feature, my man Carl Cherry, shout Carl Cherry, tweeted that, I don't care who writes it, Cardi B is hard as fuck. We enjoy the music. I don't care who writes it. Again, because the assumption was she's been open about it before. Cardi B doesn't write, is the assumption. Cardi responded, look at this tweet. She said, I write it. Come to a studio session. And she showed the credits. These credits were actually from the Genius site. She says, I write it. Come to a studio session. It's not that Carl is wrong. It's not that Joe Budden is wrong. It's just that we don't know. And we have questions. We have preconceived notions. And when there's multiple writers in the room, it's a slippery slope. Like I said, Cardi has been in defense of this for a while. In 2019, she was included on Billboard had a Hot 100 songwriters chart. And she was included on that, and she was met with ridicule. And she responded with, again, on Twitter, I guess they were like, why is she on this chart? She doesn't write. And she says, because I do write a lot of my shit. That's the thing. Yes, just like every other artist, I do have a couple of writers that help with hooks, but I wrote plenty of songs on my album, especially my mixtape. Y'all just flip shit and y'all want to believe the fuck shit so bad, but eat it up, bitch. Again, very, very defensive, but it's that people don't know. And I want to say also, just like every other artist, I do have a couple of writers that help with hooks. That's not, it happens. The hook thing happens. So she's saying there's a hook, but it's not every other artist. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But the hook thing happens a lot. Pardi once went on Big Boy in the Morning, and he said this. I'm not going to put the clip because I don't want to get dinged. But Pardi once said this. He says, Cardi B writes her own music. She writes her own music. She has her own ideas, genuine thoughts. But me just being more seasoned in the rap, I can be like, bet. This is a better way to say that bar. Change this bar. Switch this around. If I could help my friend, why wouldn't I? So that's how he kind of describes it. So now we're starting to get glimpses as to how it works. According to him, he sounds more like an editor than a writer. She comes up with the rhyme and he helps refine it. Is that the process? This, I've never been in the studio with them, so I can't say any different, right? There's still going to be questions. Folks will still be skeptical. Like, oh, he's just saying that to protect her. And he's in business with her, so he's saying, you protect the product. That's some of the skepticism that folks may have. The truth is only the people in that studio knows how it goes. But Pardi's name appears in the credits for 18 out of 23 songs. Dead, Hello, Magnet, the diss song, Pick It Up, Imaginary Players, Salute, Safe, Outside, Pretty and Petty, Better Than You, On My Back, Every Time, Check Please, Principal, Nice Guy, Killing You Hoes, Up, and WAP. It's 18 out of 23 songs. So that's a lot of credit. But he is credited. He's not a ghostwriter. He's credited. So did the process work on the same of every song? Was it different? Did it vary? It probably varied from song to song, like the amount of input that somebody gives. But again, we don't know because we're not there. And there are other writers' names all over this album. But it's important to note not every name in the written by section, particularly, let's say I'm using Spotify for an example. I'm going to show y'all. Not every name in the written by section means that they wrote a lyric. Producers get writing credits also because they wrote the musical notes for a song. People don't write out on musical sheets anymore like they did maybe back in the days of classical music. But lyrics are written, and technically musical notes can be written. So a producer is also a writer on the song. If you sample somebody like the Isley Brothers, Ronald Isley could receive a writing credit on your new song because he wrote the original composition. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of reasons why names can end up in the writer section. Let's look at Safe from the album featuring Kalani, for example. I just kind of want to show y'all, and I want to use a simple example. Safe featuring Kalani is written by Belcalis Almanzar, that's Cardi B, right? James D. Steed. James D. Seed is DJ Swan QO. That if you look in the produced by section, that's his government name. James Steed is DJ Swan. All right, so he gets a writing credit. Jordan Thorpe is Pardi, so Pardi was involved in this. Kalani Parrish, we hear Kalani's voice on this. She is doing the hook, so we assume, okay, Kalani wrote her hook. Kalani had, and Kalani wrote her section of the record. And then Matthew Sean Island Allen is also a producer, Sean Allen. So the producers, if you look in the producer section, DJ Swan, Sean Island are both accounted for. That's James Steed. That's Matthew Allen. Kehlani's a feature. Okay, we assume Kehlani writes her own. So Kehlani is written by Kehlani. She has a writing credit. Cardi B has a writing credit. And then Jordan Thorpe, who doesn't have a producer, is Pardi. So he's in there doing what he does. And that's it. And the truth is, going back to what Cardi kind of said earlier, a lot of rappers use writers in some form or fashion. And we aren't always made aware, or we aren't always paying attention. I do think if rappers were more open about it, I think it will help the public understand it better, and it would be less speculation and stigma. And I will say, the stigma about it is actually way more accepted now in 2025 than it was in 1995, 96. It was just assumed that if you rap, you wrote your own shit. So the stigma around it has changed through the years. But again, for me, I'm cool with it. I can still be a fan of it. I can still enjoy your music, even if you ain't write it. It just means something more to me when I'm making those best MCs lists, my personal best MCs list. When I'm connecting with the music, it means something more to me to know that was your pen. It's just more impressive to me. And that's just my thoughts. All right? Let me know what y'all think, though. Hit me in the comments. All right? Let's talk about it. Peace.